Hello and welcome to another episode of Cybermasters. Very excited to have my special guest from Exertis Almo here, specialist in camera equipment, conference room technology. Eric's been a guest on our show before. We always talk about what's the latest in conference room technology and looking to hear what's really going on recently with this stuff. There was a big trade show where a lot of new equipment was released. Artificial intelligence is a huge take and vision for the future that includes PCs, camera equipment, conference room technology. I mean, there's one conference room technology where you can literally sit there and it'll follow you around the room and know who's talking. It's pretty advanced stuff. You really want to get to know this stuff. It's fractions of the cost of what this stuff used to cost. And certainly there's a leading vendor in the industry, Exertis Almo. We have our business development manager from there. And he's going to tell us about what's going on in the show. Yeah. And the company continues to grow and see very great experiences. How are you, Eric? How
Ed,
you doing? Welcome
thank you for having me back on the show.
Excellent.
That was a great introduction. I appreciate it. It's great to be back on the show and having some fun again like we always do.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
That a friend of mine asked me too. What's your favorite coffee? What do you like for coffee? What's your favorite coffee?
My favorite coffee is probably Pikes Peak by Starbucks.
You're a Starbucks guy.
It makes me sweat a little too much, so.
Excellent.
This stuff's pretty strong.
Yeah, you know, I'm from Europe. Coffees are very exclusive there. I always like to see what people's flavors are. But anyway, welcome to the show. Eric, could you tell us a little bit more about the current company you're with and where it's gone and
Sure.
some of that stuff? We'll pull up the iPad and we can look at some of that
let's.
stuff.
I'll just start by saying, you know,
Please.
as business development manager at Exertis Almo, we're the largest Pro AV distributor in North America. We've grown through an acquisition through last year where Exertis acquired Almo. We talked about that in our last episode. And what I specialize in is AV over IP, so audio visual over internet protocol, networked AV it's also called, and anything really related to signal distribution for video and audio. So we did have a big show. It was the E4 event.
Where was it? Where did you hold it?
In Dallas, actually. We have a show called the E4 Experience.
Oh, can we pull that up? Can we?
Yeah, let me just pull that up right now. And
excellent. So I love techie trade shows. There's always great stuff to see. Well, what happened here?
Well, you can see me on the little run-through reel. One of the first images there. But basically, these shows are like, these are the best that pro audio visual and commercial electronics offers in terms of a trade show. I mean, like, they're not the typical sad road show where you have some product on a table, the guys come by, they look at it, maybe get a sandwich. This is different. This is like an AV wedding. We have the latest and greatest technologies, all the newest product that manufacturers are releasing, and we show it to dealers, integrators, resellers, and even consultants come to this show. And we just had it earlier this month in the first week of March 7th, I think it was. And I was there, just like I'll be at all the E4s. And our next one is in Santa Clara on April 25th for the West Coast team.
How often do they run these shows a year? How often do these happen?
We do 4 shows a year, and we usually try to spread them across the country. This year we did Dallas, Texas. It was our first in March. We do another one in April. That'll be California and Santa Clara. And then we do one in the fall. We do 2 in the fall, one in September and one in October. And the one in September is going to be really great because it applies to the New York crowd. It's going to be in Teaneck, New Jersey, right outside of the George Washington Bridge. So we get the best of the tri-state area. And then
That's a hot spot. You can get a lot of people to attend there. It's easy to access and all of that.
Yeah, we got a lot of great vendors and a lot of great customers in the Northeast, but we have great customers throughout the country. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So I want to thank our customers for attending these events, showing up, supporting it, and of course, continuing to work with us on a daily basis.
Excellent. Wow. Are these shows expanding? Are there more and more people Has COVID or the end of COVID brought more people to the shows? How are you experiencing some
This
of that?
show was fantastic in Dallas. I mean, it was the most registration that we ever had for a show. Pre-pandemic was very tough to pull these shows off. There were travel restrictions, there were people that were quarantined. Things come in the way when you have a scenario like that. But now everybody's out, everybody's traveling, the planes are packed, there's usually no seats available anymore.
And everybody's coming back to the trade
Yeah.
shows, and excitement's back in the air, if you will.
Yeah, we had over 600 people register for this event and over 400 shows. So that's over a 67% attendance rate. A lot of people, as you know, you register for an event, you can't always make it, something pops up. This was a big testament to not only the quality of the show we put on, but also the interest level of our customer base in finding the newest technologies, learning about them, experiencing a demonstration, and even we have classes that are CTS certified, which CTS is an AVIXA certification for most people in our industry that have, it's a certified technical specialist. And I'm an AVIXA CTS holder as well, and we offer these classes for credits. And this is like, you know, you get to see product, you get to meet manufacturers, you get to go in training classes, earn credits, and then the best thing is there's also tons of giveaways, and we serve a fantastic meal for lunch for everyone. I think Dallas was brisket. You know,
Really? Brisket? No, I'm into that.
You can't go down to Texas and not have a good smokehouse barbecue offering for your customers.
Oh, I love it. That's excellent. So it's really a party, get together, and everyone's learning what's happening. What are some of the interesting products that were demonstrated this year? What do you got?
Well, this year, like every event, we always ask our vendors, bring something that you haven't brought to the market before. Show us something new, show us something interesting, and they did not disappoint. There was
Really?
Yeah, there was some incredible vendor partnerships we have. Ones that I managed specifically that were really big was, I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but you know, there's a lot of applications. You go to house of worship, which would be churches, synagogues, you know, and the typical, you know, location for religious services. You also have lecture capture for, like, you know, education, higher ed, K through 12. And then you also have other applications where it's like a training room for corporate training room or something like that also. Well, typically what they would do is they would program cameras for presets. So they would pan tilt and they would zone in on a certain area that was preset. Now, I work with a company called Lumens, and the name of their website is mylumens.com. I'm going to plug that for them, and their VC-TR40 camera.
So what's exciting about that particular? So that's the Lumens was an exciting brand there.
Oh yeah.
And they brought in some new equipment, right?
Lumens is a great partner of ours. They're exclusive to Exertis Almo, so they do not distribute through anybody else.
Is Lumens only corporate, or is it? What is it? Enterprise? What field does Lumens fall into?
Well, they're a global company that is based out of Taiwan, and they have ability. They are the largest PTZ manufacturer in the world, and they also make encoder decoder products for sending video and audio over a network. They make streaming products as well, like for media. They're media processors where you can do much like the podcast we're doing here, integrate their cameras with an audio source or several audio sources. What I'm excited about is their VCTR40. That is their auto tracking camera. A lot of companies had said that they created auto tracking, but it was like, you know how they say there's better
it's
products
not
through
real
marketing.
auto tracking.
Well, you know how, like, it was the old better products through marketing, and they would take things and put words into the product and make it seem like it auto track. This is a true auto tracking camera. This has artificial intelligence built in, where the software built into the camera learns your facial structures and features and will follow the presenter. So it's
Let's
perfect.
pull it up. Let's pull it up.
Here it is right here.
This is it, huh?
Yeah, this is the TR40. This is one of their latest and greatest you know, camera developments that they had. It has tracking modes. It recognizes the human face, and it is particular to the presenter. So think about your pastor, you know, or rabbi or imam, you know, like everyone that you could think of. There's your lecture presenters.
Now
your
hold on, it
corporate
says
trainers.
AI face tracking. What do they mean by that?
So what they're doing is, like a lot of artificial intelligence, even much like your phones have the ability to do facial recognition, it identifies structural parts of your face that are pre-configured. So much like when you set up your phone, you have it use different angles. It learns your face And then what it does is it follows that person around the room.
What if they're wearing masks or have something, obstruction on their face for whatever, a cut or something unusual?
That's a good question. There is also another development that they have. Besides the AI auto tracking cameras, they have other cameras that do audio tracking. So audio tracking, like how do you do that? How do you get an audio, like a microphone, to help you follow the camera? Well, that took development. So Lumens is also a partner with Sennheiser, Shure, Nariva, and Yamaha. They're going to be introducing a solution where they use beamforming microphones that are software developed to work with the Lumens cameras to be able to follow you based on audio alone.
Really?
So that could come in handy if your back is turned or if you're in an environment where you know, tracking somebody's face is going to be difficult.
So it says here 3 tracking modes. What are the tracking modes? What are they talking about?
Well, when they track the modes, basically what it means is, you know, this is a camera that's going to be able to follow you around and provide a little bit more configuration and personalized frames on how you wish to have that image presented.
Oh,
so,
okay. So there's different scenarios and scenes.
Yeah, and it also has a very powerful optical lens at 20 times magnification. So that's also a pretty big deal. It's not digital zoom, it's optical zoom. So it's real glass. And this company has, you know, they're designed for broadcasting applications too. You know, the big technology is NDI. So NDI is a big platform for broadcasting and presenting, and these guys have, they're currently up to date with almost, with all the new NDI releases that they have had.
Really? Oh, that's very interesting.
Yep.
So they're a leading brand in all of this. I wasn't aware that that Lumens,
yeah.
Lumens was that involved in this, really.
Yep, so the name of the company is Lumens, and their website is My Lumens, and you can check out a lot of their products. You just go to the product thing. They have camera controllers if you have more than 1 or 2 PTZs, but the big thing about the show was the auto tracking camera that I saw, and their media processors too.
What are the media processors?
Media processors are generally going to be products where you can integrate audio and video, and you can have a podcast session. You can look at it as, it says right here, you know, how you can go through different venues, and instead of having a traditional switcher with a recorder, this has everything built in. So it has the streaming protocols for the networking, audio inputs for your microphones, camera, HDMI, networking, as well as a hard drive.
Really? All incorporated into one system there?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
So lecture capture is a big deal for this one. That's
wow.
very important.
Lumens has got some really cutting edge stuff there. Did they have a big booth? Were they a big presence at the
Well,
show?
everybody gets a standard size, you know, usually a couple of tables that they can put their product on. So we don't really like we don't make any vendors stand out more than the other ones though.
No good tchotchkes? Were they handing out
everybody
stress
brings
balls,
they bring the swag. Everybody brings swag.
They got the swag, okay.
Yeah, unfortunately Lumens was giving away these great cable squids that were like adapters. You can never get enough of those. You know,
Really?
how many times you leave your USB-C or your Apple Lightning adapter or
home? Constantly. I have bags of extra backup cables everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? I know some of these cables get so expensive, right? Like I know my iPhone cable was like $20 at the store. That's a lot of money for just a cable, you know?
And it helps too because being that I'm traveling more now, I'm a little out of practice with packing my bag, and it's one of the last things you remember, or I should say it's one of the first things you forget. Forget your cables.
Your charging cables.
So yeah, I've been forgetting a few things. But when you go to the show, let me tell you, you won't have any shortage of pens or any type of
so it's worth going to the show just to get accessorized on cables and all that while you're checking out the latest gear.
If you like swag, you're going to be very impressed. But what's really important, we give away a lot of stuff though. So you get some, some of this hardware that's being shown for the first time, they're having giveaways. So they'll have raffles. Yeah, if you stay for the show, it's going to be worth your while. We're even giving away displays. So
wow,
yeah,
actual TVs, like
yeah. Sometimes it's not worth reboxing a display and sending it and shipping it back, plus the potential for damage. we'd rather, we'd rather hold raffles and give them away to our customers if the vendors support that. But
Very nice. That's really nice. That's great, actually. I mean, that's really professional.
Yeah.
What a great reason to go to the show. So it's only industry buyers that go to the show? Is it for fans? Who comes to these shows?
It's really for everyone. So we particularly tailor them because of the classes and the new product for integrators, resellers, and dealers. But it's not just for them. We have consultants show up that do bid spec, and they write opportunities, and these guys are driving certain projects and opportunities, and they want to see new product that they can put into a project. We also have end users. So think about like a major university that's nearby. There's lots of universities in Texas. You're going to see them come by to investigate, hey, we need a new solution for whatever the case is, and they can see product firsthand, demo it, see the exhibit, have a salesperson and an engineer talk to them. Typically, you're going to have somebody who's technical as well as sales related at these vendor tables that we have the show. And so really you run the gamut. People who want to take advantage of learning new technology, whether it's end user or someone who's selling it and integrating it.
Oh man, that's really. What else you got? What else you got cooking? You told me about the Lumix.
Oh, Lumens was exciting.
And Lumens. I'm sorry, I keep saying
That's
it wrong.
right.
So Lumens is the exciting part, and they're AI driven for sound and for video.
Yes.
So you don't really need a camera anymore.
No, you need the camera.
You need the camera guy.
You got to have the camera.
You don't need the camera guy, though,
Yeah.
to move the camera. It's doing it automatically.
Well, they do have those too. You can also buy the camera controllers, and they're like basically little joystick with the keypad, and you can do presets. And they usually have somebody doing control, especially when you have more than 2 cameras. You're going to want somebody to be able to do it. But if you have a
professional conference room with a lot of
if you have a single camera though in a venue that's like a small lecture center or training center, you're only going to need 1 camera, and you're just going to need a very healthy microphone system. And that's why the beamforming microphones of today's conference room and training center and corporate center environments are going to be much greater than the ones that we're typically aware of when you see hanging ceiling mics or gooseneck microphones from a table. Now they make ones that fit into the tiles of your ceiling, and they're built into like arrays. And an example of that would be like Yamaha Adisia makes a fantastic product for that.
Really? Yamaha? Yeah. Were they at the show? Was Yamaha?
They were. They were showing a demonstration, and they brought their Adisia product and let people exhibit it firsthand on how the audio tracks the actual person who's talking. And they can even track people in a room when they turn their back and even whisper a little bit. So
Yamaha is just a great company, and I just want to say regarding their their music instruments, just really fabulous stuff.
Well, it's
very
great to
high
see,
end,
It's great to see these manufacturers jump in and not only do this on their own, but work together. Like that's what I'm seeing. You're seeing a cooperation between Lumens and Yamaha. You're seeing cooperations between other companies. One of the biggest companies that everybody's cooperating with right now is Netgear. Netgear makes their M4250 series of network switches, and this is like the leading layer 3 switch manufacturer for pushing audio and video over a network.
Really?
It is exciting, and it's exciting to me because I mean, Ed, who else do you know gets excited over a layer 3 network switch?
Me, that's count me in.
And that's
I'm
why
right
we're
there
friends.
with you. Yeah, exactly.
That's why we're friends.
We're a bunch of computer geeks who love this stuff. So.
But yeah, so Netgear is like the premier player in the Pro AV space and commercial audio video. They make their M4250 and M4300 series of switches. These things are gorgeous. They can be mounted in rack
Let's
spaces.
take a look at it. Hang on a second. Look at this.
They can be mounted in front or the rear. So whether it's an IT rack or an AV rack, if you want lights on the front and cables in the back, no problem. And this
so I'm confused a little bit. Being in the IT industry, Netgear has a stronghold on AV gear. How did that happen? What's the story on that?
For years, and just from experience, Netgear's been a player. Most people know them from their home consumer routers and their Orbi systems and some of the other ventures that Netgear has had. Nighthawk for gaming systems. They're not to be pigeonholed as a typical switch manufacturer or internet Wi-Fi manufacturer.
Why?
Because they have a dedicated Pro AV team for design, engineering, and support of these products. These are guys, global resources around the world spread out, who have the ability to discuss AV projects with networking capability as well, and they'd be able to not only design, but they can guide our customers through any project And that goes from the first stage, which is always the most important,
Yeah.
designing the network before it gets running. But these guys are the most responsive and have the most well-rounded and complete resources for rapid turnaround on projects as well as rapid support.
So you do full support and engineering background for all these products?
Yes, not me personally, but I am, you know,
But
me.
your
I
team,
have,
Almo
yeah, I
has...
have an IT background and I can do basic design and most other, but when I really need a project to have a blessing, and some of these projects are tremendous. I mean, think about casinos
Yeah.
and sports betting facilities where they have hundreds of decoders and encoders. When that comes into play, you're going to need 10 gig uplinks, and you're going to need to know how you can run fiber for certain distances and lengths. And
But shouldn't the dealer know all that stuff already?
not if they're, all right, so some AV integrators, dealers, and resellers have brought IT professionals onto their staff. Very expensive endeavor.
Really?
Netgear took it upon themselves to
Well, but if you're in the business, I figured you'd need to kind of have those kind of people.
But those
in
skill
your
sets are
staff,
hard
you know?
to come by, though. So then, remember, somebody who's invested their livelihood and their life in AV technology may not be an IT person. And that maybe not everybody understands IPv4 and IPv6, you know, and
So
how to
those
set up a
AV
VLAN.
guys who are encroaching on IT can come to you to give them the rest of the stuff they don't know about.
I think it's the other way around. The IT guys are now encroaching on the AV world because all the technologies are moving to IP-based technologies, networking audio and video packets over a network instead of the traditional digital matrix solutions for video distribution and otherwise. So with that being said, Netgear really stepped up to the plate and they developed an AV GUI. So when you can log in through CLI and their switches. I mean, these layer 3 switches, we even have IT VARs that are purchasing these switches through us. So it's been able to allow Exertis Almo to bring in a different customer base because of the commonality of IT and AV with control systems and video and audio distribution. These are going to be two things where both of these entities are going to have to work hand in hand. And there's no reason why you should have to bring an IT guy on staff when a manufacturer has taken the steps in their hardware to develop a software platform that's easier to develop. I mean, think about how many tabs you have to configure when you go between creating a VLAN.
So ultimately you're saying Netgear has led the way and they're kicking butt.
Oh, they're leading the charge, 100%.
In the convergence of IT and AV in order for IT guys to be able to get into that business, and with you as a vendor, they have somebody to back them and get them started, if you will.
No other manufacturer has stepped up to the plate in terms of the networking world. We all know.
But you believe it's the industry is made up more of AV people hanging on to their stuff and IT people getting into AV as opposed to AV people coming into IT. There's more the other way.
Yeah, I see that because a lot of the AV guys are not comfortable talking IT and IP, and they'll go kicking and screaming until they retire, and the adoption rates were typically very low. When I joined Exertis Almo in 2015, I was in charge of networked AV also, but I saw single-digit adoption rates year after year. Now, since COVID's taken place and you've seen chipset shortages come on the horizon, and we've all heard about product constraints, we've seen double-digit leaps into networked AV. But it's not just because of chipset shortage, it's because of companies like Netgear are making it easier to deploy. Another company that's making it easier to deploy, which was also a big success at our show, was Atlona.
Tell me about it. Well, I've never heard of Atlona.
Atlona is a Panduit company. So you've heard of Panduit. They're one of the top...
Panduit, of course.
Panduit is one of the top 3 global IT infrastructure companies. If you've seen a Panduit rack and Panduit certified cabling, you know that it's one of the premier platinum standards. So one of their companies that they purchased was Atlona. I've been working with them since before they were a Panduit company. But basically, Atlona produces some products in the AV space that are very, very, very important because they also not only do video distribution over a network, but their OmniStream product was one of the big winners at this year's shows.
It's called the OmniStream?
OmniStream is the platform. So OmniStream is their venture into networked AV, and originally was based on the VC2 codec, which was invented by the BBC years ago.
By the BBC? What do you mean?
The British Broadcasting Company. They developed this codec to compress video and audio and send it over a network. And they utilized that codec to be able to do compressed audio and video over a 1 gig network. And they did it successfully. But guess what? This year they came out with OmniStream 2.0, which was just simply a firmware update alone that allowed customers who had previous installs to take advantage of all the latest and greatest features. And one of the biggest advantages now was you now have 4K resolution in what's called 444 subchroma sampling, which basically is artifact-free presentation.
Subchroma sampling.
Yeah, that's basically getting the full color gamut of the 4K resolution. It also has, still streams over a gigabit network, so you have the ability to use a 1 gig network still, even though, so that those packets are going to be compressed. And they also have ultra-fast switching between encoder sources. And then the big thing too was multi-view window processing for, there you go, multi-view window processing for basically large video walls. So you can use a single decoder and take 4 encoders and chop it up into quad view and have all those images.
Hasn't that been out for years?
It has been, but it normally required you to buy a multi-view processor, and those processors were thousands and thousands of dollars that added expenses to it.
Okay.
Now, think about it this way. You have a firmware update that you can put on existing projects that you already have the product running and take advantage of these features. I mean, think about a company who comes out with something brand new and you don't even have to buy hardware for it. You can use your existing hardware. Of course, buying new encoders and decoders are going to come standard with the OmniStream 2.0. But think about the customer who invested last year into a project and says, wow, I should have waited 6 months or a year. Now they don't have to. It's just a simple firmware update and they could take advantage of all this. So
how does this brand price out in comparison to some of the other big brands in the industry?
Well, when you're talking about signal distribution, whether it's extending an HDMI signal or any type of video signal, these guys are not only very cost effective, but they're offering a 10-year warranty on most of their products. So they're practically telling you that their products are bulletproof and that they are very reliable, very resilient, and at a price point that's also attractive.
Sick.
So I'm a big fan of them, and I see them. They also won a couple awards at the ISE this year, which is the
just this few
the
months
integrated
ago.
systems in Europe. That was big in Barcelona this year, and they won 2 awards from Sound and Video Contractor and AV Technology. So,
and the product's called OmniStream.
OmniStream is the platform, and they make encoders and decoders that go along with it. And of course, they all use a Netgear switch because Netgear is a certified partner. Again, you're going to see Netgear certified with a lot of partners. I couldn't tell you how many there. Originally, there was maybe 70 or 80. I think there's well over 100 partners now that have joined partnership with Netgear and are now offering their switches with their products to work in tandem. Because if you want your stuff to work well, of course you're going to recommend a manufacturer that makes it look well.
But now what happens? You've invested on some gear, you're ready to expand, and you see this new gear. We're going to have a problem making it all fit together? What's your take on that?
No, that's the thing, is when you cross-certify products, they send product to each other. The Netgear always does a great job sending our, our partner alliances. They send them, Netgear switch to do some testing in their lab. The engineering teams both work on each other's products, and then from that point on, they're certified to work with each other. So they're, you're going to get a product that's designed to work optimally with each other, rather than try to piecemeal it together with a different manufacturer.
Right, everything's under one roof, one place, one throat to choke, I guess they say.
Yeah.
Meaning that if there's a problem, you can go to one stop as opposed to having to deal with multiple vendors.
Yeah, you'll even see a lot of these manufacturers will put Netgear, the Pro AV switches on their actual price sheets. And I aim to fulfill them for them. We stock heavily in Netgear switches, and probably the largest audio-video offering of their Netgear switches that we do.
Wow,
So,
nice. What else? What else you got? What else? So at Lona,
Well, at Lona,
the camera, the lumens.
Lumens, yeah, the Lumens PTZ cameras and
What
auto
else?
tracking, Netgear switches. Of course, the show also was a big, as with any large draw, we're a display company primarily, and DV LED was also a big.
Now, DV LED, you told me a little bit about this last time.
Yep.
DV LED stands for?
Direct view LED.
Okay.
So what it is that you now have little nano LEDs that are on a matrix board. that are basically designed and they're spaced together. And now what they call as a pixel pitch is basically the center point difference in space between the next pixel. So each pixel is now a little micro LED. And what that does is now that product offers tremendous brightness, has tremendous resiliency, and is also offering long-term usage for longevity. So these are going to be the type of displays that you're going to see in signage for, you know, corporate or commercial spaces, retail. You're going to see them in.
Now, isn't QLED the same thing? What's the difference?
No, QLED is quantum LED. It's just a way of. I think Samsung developed QLED, and it's basically every display manufacturer is going to try to offer a different way to enhance the resolution of their products. DV-LED is completely different. It can be indoor rated, outdoor rated. It is a commercial thing. It's usually a large frame of you know that the product is, and they use tiled matrices of these, like either magnet or other forms of fixating them onto it. And basically you're creating, so you can create a custom size, like much larger than traditional video walls, where you would have to use a bunch of large format displays, line them up in a matrix, and then have the bezel to deal with. These things are bezel-less. You're basically building a little tie. Yeah, if you want a good look, the other day I was in Costco. If you go to their computer department, you can see in one of their kiosks, there was a rolling DV-LED that was put there. I mean, these things...
Really?
Yeah, these things have the ability to catch your attention because of their brightness. They're also tremendously resilient. Like I said, I mean, people with shopping carts are brushing up against these things.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's fine.
And it's fine. And again, it's really eye-catching because of the brightness. And of course, what that means also is that you want to make sure it lasts a long time. So these things will compete with a lot of ambient light in a store that has like a lot of fluorescent lighting, or it'll compete with even brightness from the sun. You always lose against the sun, but you'll be able to see, billboards and things like that will now be DV-LED. So you can now change content on the fly and have a new image on that. And you'll see them almost every airport now has large DV-LED.
Can you pull some of that up? Can I see what that looks like?
Yeah, sure. Let's take a look at, one of my favorites is Samsung The Wall.
Mm-hmm. Samsung The Wall.
Yeah, they basically
Not
created...
Pink Floyd The Wall.
Yeah, they created Samsung The Wall is basically little micro LEDs, and it's on a DV-LED, and you're seeing an image like this right here. You would have it in like your corporate lobby or something like that, or
which one would it be?
It's the one with the abstract image right next to the in the background there.
Wow.
You can see them in a car dealership. I mean, let's talk about DV-LED and how important it is. Back in the day, even for movies...
So you're saying that's more than one screen put together?
That is a tiled matrix of multiple little screens that can be built into
There's
almost any size.
There's no seam.
There's zero bezels.
Zero seams.
Think about this. If anybody's a Mandalorian fan, a lot of times when you're doing CGI graphics, they would use green screens, right? A green screen could be altered with computer graphics and hence CGI. Now, the sets are giant LED structures, DV-LED structures. So when you're having the Mandalorian and he's in the deserts of Tatooine or another planet, they could just show content as if he's almost there.
No way.
So there's no computer graphic alterations.
So there's no more green screen? It's
I would say no
screens?
green screen. I'll just say that these studios now are using like DV-LED as their go-to background when they're shooting scenes. So yeah, it saves them money from traveling to different sites and doing all sorts of stuff. The size and scalability of this is just tremendous, though. You can scale a DV-LED wall to almost infinite levels. Go to your local airport and take a look and see how DV-LED has affected signage in those locations. Brightness, they're beautiful, they're stunning images, and they're of course going to last a heck of a lot longer than a standard large format display.
Really, really?
Yeah, there's no burnout.
What do you mean? You mean last longer? They physically have a longer life?
Yeah, they do. The LEDs.
Why? Because they have more.
Well, they're designed for indoor and outdoor space at brighter levels too. So you're talking about levels that will allow them to compete with things like ambient light and the sun. Now, these things are also built to a commercial spec. These are not consumer electronics. You're not going to find a DV-LED product for the consumer market for any time in the foreseeable future, but you will see them in commercial spaces, and they're also not an inexpensive endeavor.
What do you mean, like, compared to regular screen that you would get, I guess, is the way you would compare it, I assume.
Yeah, but again, nobody's really looking in the past at technology. They're looking forward to the future, and this is one of the biggest technologies. So Samsung the Wall I like because
So
they
what is
take all
that
the
called?
guesswork out.
8K, 12K?
No,
What
well,
K
you
are
can build
we
them in
at?
any resolution that
Really?
you want because remember, you're customizing the layout. You want to be abstract and mount them in a different or portrait fashion. You would have a different resolution. Or so what Samsung included is they include the mounts, the cables, the structure, everything. The only thing you got to do is find a place to affix it. So that's one of my reasons why I'm a big
Is
fan
it
of
easier,
Samsung.
easier or harder to service under these conditions?
I would say that if a properly trained AV company, and usually they have to be certified in order for them to install and work with DV LED products, but yeah, you're going to find that AV integrators are critical for pulling this off. This is not something you're going to be able to do as an end user.
Okay. Will IT departments learn this art? Is that where IT is going, installing this?
We hope that it is part of it. Now, again, typically the IT, part of the integration involved, hey guys, we need some VLANs and some connectivity to the internet. We'd often be told no and have to build a parallel network anyway. Now the involvement level is higher because things are moving in a direction where the technologies as well as the AV technologies are more understandable to the IT folks. So whether they want to or not, I mean, a lot of IT guys don't want to learn how to send video and audio over network, but once you've reduced it down to a simple packet, it's now way more understandable on how to pull this off. And it will require some training, but I do see a lot of
But you do see
going on.
in the end, the AV guys will stick to the mounting, where the IT guys will pretty much be in the programming realm. So there'll still be some separation and complementary work amongst those industries.
What I would say is this, Ed, you're going to see some that are going to want to beef up their staff to be able to support an installation, whether it's IT or AV. I will do another plug for Exertis Almo's professional services group. When you do have, say you have an IT VAR and he lands a deal and he can do DV LED, signal distribution in a building, and then a few other things that the customer wants for, say, conference room collaboration. Well, they don't want to set up the mount and they don't want to affix structures to a wall or conference room or anything like that, or run cabling or infrastructure cabling. You can lean on us now. We have labor support, we have control systems and digital signal processor programming services. We offer bandwidth and business communications when you need to beef up the network for your latest Teams room or Zoom room. And of course, the mounting and installation would be under our, the labor and installation group, and even commissioning. So again, you're not capable. You don't have the staff.
But the fact that you're international, so you support multiple languages, is that the case?
Well, we do, but this is primarily the dedicated professional services, primarily for the domestic U.S. So we're able to send out any kind of technician or labor or installer within a very short period of time, and coordinate with your project managers and the whoever's running that project and be able to pull this off as a third party. So now you're going to see a lot of third party involvement where IT guys may not know how to best mount something, how to safely mount, how to safely wire things for AV, and they're more familiar with the IT ways. Now you're going to be able to lean on some professional resources and services and be that one-stop shop. You'll be you won't have to go elsewhere to source anything, whether it's equipment or services.
So an IT vendor who's interested to get involved in this business can contact you, and you can become their AV partner.
Absolutely.
Do that.
Yeah, we look at everything as a partnership level, whether it's our
Nice.
manufacturers being our vendor partners, but ideally we want to partner with our resellers, dealers, and integrators. We want to earn their business through our fantastic sales team that is extremely responsive, our technical BDM team. Each of us is a technically proficient person with subject matter expertise in a certain area. There are guys who are experts in audio that I work with that have forgotten more than I'll ever know. And they're degreed audio engineers and can design any system. Myself included in the video distribution and networked AV side of the equation. And then we have guys dedicated just for professional services in the regions. We have ones for every display manufacturer, whether it's Samsung, LG, Sharp, NEC, Planar, you name it. We have all the different manufacturers for displays, and we work well with them.
Is Samsung still a leading provider in that space?
Absolutely. They're one of the top 2 companies for large format displays in the world. I would say they're probably the leader at this point. And when you come to our shows, and especially the E4 events, the Samsung product always catches my eye.
Is there something online about the next E4 event that people can look at?
Yes, if you go to e4experience.com,
okay,
right, you'll see.
That's the site we were on before.
Yeah, e4experience.com. You can go and see whether you're in the West Coast listening to Cybermasters or you're coming back. You think, hey, maybe in September I'll have some time in the New York area. I'm going to go check out the Teaneck, New Jersey. Or you want to go down to Phoenix in October. These are the events. You'll see me there at all of them. You can register for these. There's me right there in the reel.
There you are. I saw
and then there's a sales team, and then of course you can meet manufacturers, engineers. You can jump into classes. You can learn all sorts of things. We have even one of my colleagues.
So, but your call to action is for your local technologists ready to break into AV.
Yeah, local technologists, end users, anybody interested in seeing something that they have never seen before, and are real technophiles, and they want to make sure they stay on top. Because you know as well as I do, if you're not current with it, you're going to get left behind. So if you don't.
Well, no, I always think about our work, and you know, we've always left the AV to the AV vendor. We wanted to be more involved. In the past, it seemed a lack of security focus by those folks.
Then this would be a great opportunity.
There's totally, I would say, lots of MSPs would have an interest to gain control and make sure that that stuff is secure when traditionally it hadn't been in the past.
Yeah, I mean, managed service providers are going to want to attend this show so they can see, how do I do digital signage? I mean, even you yourself told me last year, you've aligned yourselves in your company with BrightSign.
Correct.
One of the best solid state signage players there is. And I'm not even going through all the features that it has the capabilities of doing, but it's one of the most robust solid state signage players that we offer. We sell tons of them, and you're seeing IT guys like yourself jumping into them and aligning yourselves with that company because it makes sense to. So you're going to get classes on how to develop content. You're going to get classes on power and grounding, how to build a rack, signal distribution. The classes are unique, each and every one. I think we'll be running the same ones for all four, and you'll be able to see, I guess, I don't know if we talk about the classes on any of these on the website.
Oh, well, there's the training classes now. So these are paid training classes? How do you work?
Everything's free from the...
All training classes are free?
Including your attendance at the show. We want to show you it's an investment in our customers.
Oh, this is not like a $400 ticket to get in?
Not at all. You're welcome to come and meet me and everybody else there and your regional sales team. You come to these shows, you not only get a free pass to the exhibit hall, we have a keynote speaker usually that talks about the current trends in professional audio video. And then we also have like all those classes. So whether you just want to go through the show floor and check out product and then dive into the different classes, I can guarantee you you're going to learn something extremely valuable that could make your business more profitable or even make your business start going in different directions towards, like you said, IT guys who want to be more involved in AV, but were typically told no or didn't have the skill sets to do so.
So you guys are hosting this huge show, inviting all the partners and potential partners at no cost.
Yep.
Giving out thousands of dollars of free cables. I mean, well, sign me up.
Free cable. Well, again, we have a lot of giveaways, but the biggest thing we're giving away is...
Well, it's not you, but the other vendors that are there.
Yeah, we're giving away training that is very valuable, and of course, we also do everything...
Well, listen, that training is invaluable. With the version controls that are out there, to have the manufacturer and the primary distributors kind of work together and make sure we know the latest is absolutely invaluable. That's insider baseball, you know what I mean? You go to the shows to understand what they're doing.
Who said there's no such thing as a free lunch either? That is also included, like we talked about before.
Come on down to get the insider baseball on what's coming, what's going on. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited for all the shows. I love traveling to all of them, and I love meeting our customers, and I love working with our vendor partners because it wouldn't be possible without them.
How do you split your time with traveling and being a BDM for such a big company and having a family and kids? That's got to be difficult.
Well, it's all about time management, and it's, you know, I can say that my life is pretty much very predictable. You know, I work, I'm a family man, and I make travel work, and fortunately I have you know, the support mechanisms in place to be able to do that, especially when you have young kids.
That's huge, and knowing that everyone's busy, you want to get to work and do what you got to do. You're like a really easy person to kind of get things done with, right?
Yeah.
Get it done.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get things done. I got a family. Let's do this professionally. That's
I also
very
work
nice.
with a great company. Exertis Almo is a very family-oriented company, and they believe in the family unit. In fact, our model is, our mantra, or I guess our model is FIT, F-I-I-T, which is family, integrity, innovation, and teamwork.
What does your son see when he sees you working? I mean, you must be on these conference calls.
All the
Does
time,
he
yeah.
now want to be a BDM as well?
He wants to learn about electronics more, and he's at the age where I'm actually going to be taking him to some STEAM activities for, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics and art. So he's very interested. He sees me talk a lot on Zoom, and he loves to jump in there and pop his head in and say, "Hey, Dad, who's that you're talking to?" Thankfully, people nowadays are accustomed to pets and children walking into their Zoom and team calls, but overall, though, I'd say that working with Exertis Almo has made it easy for me to travel, do the best that I can as a BDM, and also support my family.
That's important because that level of structure bleeds into the relationship with the end user.
Yeah.
And when you have a relaxed business development manager and a company that has all the parts to it, it creates a relaxed relationship and comfort long term, right?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm really loving what I do right now.
Excellent. What's the next 2 years for the company? More expansion, more things growing, more interesting shows?
Yes, we're going to be doing some more shows. Of course, we do the typical E4s. We'd have to change it to E something else if we did more than 4 shows.
Oh, wait a minute. The E4 meant for 4 shows?
Oh,
I didn't know that.
It also stood for 4 E's, which was experience, exhibit, education, and expo.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
But
Good.
yeah, I would say that the 4 to me means 4 venues throughout the country so we can pay attention. And we change it up every year. So this year, you'll see different cities next year. So don't think we left you out. We certainly want to meet you in person, and we want to make sure that we pay attention to your region of the United States.
Wow. You're like going to concerts. You guys doing these concerts all over. What's the best concert hall? Where's the best venue you've been
Every
to?
one of them is the best. You know why? Because I'm usually the one that's setting them up. I'm part of the advanced team where I set up, we calibrate projector screens for the keynote speaker areas. We run the cabling. I'm not just the guy who talks product. I'm on my hands and knees running cable. We're programming lighting for these rooms. We have guys that do the projectors and calibration for when you have like a keynote speaker and you're doing rear projection to show the audience. We have the degreed audio engineers doing sound reinforcement and setting up these tremendous training rooms with mixers and all sorts of cool stuff. So again, we build these out from a bare room into the show space that you're able to see when you come attend. And then at the end of the day, and then when the show's over, I get to tear it all apart.
Does it take a few hours? It
takes a long time to build, but it only takes a few hours to tear it down. So just like anything in life, it takes longer to build than destroy.
Guys, thank you for joining us on this exciting show. I can't wait to go to the E4 show. I'll come back with a bag of cables and a tremendous knowledge of what I can do for my clients' conference room needs and what's available. I really like the fact that there's a vendor out there who, like yourself, who's taken all of it and all these brands are available. We're not looking at just one particular brand. And you have a full support team where anybody can jump in. Even experienced AV guys sounds like they can come to you guys and get refresh training.
Absolutely. And these experienced AV integrators are also going to be able to take advantage of procuring professional services where they have little voids. Either it's a certain part of the country that they don't have coverage.
Or certain product lines they may not be aware of at that moment, right?
Exactly. And that's all about what we do, introducing them to new products, technologies, and making sure that we never, ever have to tell them to go elsewhere to get what they need.
Where's the next E4 show, by the way? Do we have a
E4,
date and a time?
Santa Clara, April 25th on Tuesday. I will be there, and I can't wait to meet
Tuesday, Santa Clara, California. Let me pencil
at the
that
Hyatt
in
Regency.
and see if I can make that date.
All right. I'd love to see you there.
That's awesome. Really nice. So no cost, all training, and
all All tech.
Convergence of AV and IT. Now, they've been talking about convergence for a few years. It's just now everything's in line, right? The bandwidth, the products have come to a point where it's now ripe to do this.
This is the right time, and there's no better time. This convergence has been happening over the past decade or more. We're seeing a time right now where anybody can jump into this space and have full support, whether you're a small to medium-sized integrator or business or a very large entity. We're prepared to help you bring it to the next level, all your projects.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great day. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for having me.